Hello. Today I'm going to talk about best laid plans. Now, with a bit of practice, most of us can put together a plan to make a project or a business work. However, if putting together a great plan in which everything works was all that was needed for us to sail through life, then we would all be millionaires, household names, or whatever your indicator of success might be. As a freelancer, as most artists are, most creatives are, with your future and your work life in your own hands, the real key to planning is not just the in a perfect world scenario, but the one in which you've also considered all the things that can go wrong. For example, what do you do when you have a big presentation to a potential client and your child is sick and has to be off school, which is happening a lot at the moment. You're due to deliver a workshop and you start to lose your voice. I've had that happen. You're writing an article for a magazine against the clock and your laptop dies. Your key client who provides the bulk of your income doesn't renew your contract. Your comfortable time frame gets truncated because you have to wait for other people to get their parts of the project done and back to you. You have a couple of bad payers who owe you a lot of money and it's impacting on your cash flow. And, all the other things that come up, particularly how do you work in a pandemic where things are changing all the time? So these are just some of the things which could knock you off track. For every aspect of your planning, particularly business planning, a kind of a risk analysis is vital. So at each stage of the process, as you're putting your plans together, you can ask yourself, what problems could occur? What's the absolute worst case scenario? And then, how can I avoid this problem? If I can't avoid it, how could I minimize it or manage this problem? It sounds depressing to think of all the things that might not work. And, you could go, if all this could go wrong, what's the point of starting? But I can't stress how important this process is. By thinking of as many problems with as many viable solutions as possible, you can build up a detailed contingency plan. I always try to come up with 12 solutions to each problem. The first ones are always sensible. The middle ones are slightly desperate, and the last ones are usually outrageously silly. However, what happens is it breaks open your thinking and throws up all kinds of unexpected possibilities from which you can decide your 2 or 3 key solutions. The other thing is sometimes what happens is when you're thinking of what could go wrong and how could you avoid that, or how could you handle it if it happens, is sometimes you can actually just break open your thinking completely and see a whole different way of doing the project, or of even just creating a whole new project anyway. It's quite an exciting process. But anyway, hopefully you won't need your contingency plan. But the thing is, when the problems hit, you are fully prepared. So a good risk analysis will help you to see most problems as an inconvenience rather than a disaster. And as you practice the habit, it will become easier, so that the one thing that you hadn't anticipated but does happen, well, you can kind of face it with confidence, because even if you don't have the exact answer, you've got the thinking in your mind. So when you can see all the things that can go wrong, don't let it put you off. Just see it as opportunities to find new ways of doing things.